Hey guys, Steven from LOJ here with another project car update, this time on Project Carlmaro. As you can see, the front end of this car is still completely torn apart. We did send out the front subframe to be powder coated. They blasted down the whole front subframe and powder coated it a nice satin black. Actually got that back from powder coat just recently. The transmission, as I mentioned in a previous Project 427Z video, actually had to get sent out on this car to be rebuilt. This car had a stock 2010 Carlmaro TR6060 transmission in it, and the factory shifter location on a Carlmaro, 5th gen Carlmaro, is just nowhere near suitable for a conversion in this car. It's way too far back. You feel like you're shifting in the back seat. So what people end up doing is you can take the shifter pad off the top of this transmission where the factory shift linkage goes into and just put a standard style shifter on it. Nobody makes one off the shelf. Or there are a few companies that make one off the shelf, but it's not a very popular item. But we were able to find one that would have put the shifter in the correct location, so we were going to go that route. But in the course of just trying to figure some stuff out with this car, I tried to get the shifter in the neutral location, make sure the output shaft would spin, and it didn't matter what position I put the shifter in, the output shaft was always locked up on the trans. So what I ended up doing was pulling that shifter pad off, taking a look inside. Lo and behold, there was 4 C-clips just laying in there, and the shift rails have roll pins put in them to lock them into the shift bucket. Those roll pins were missing, and which is why when I moved the shift rod on the back end of the trans, it wasn't doing anything. So rather than try to tear into that transmission ourselves and figure out what was going on, we elected to send it out to D&D Performance out in Michigan, and they're going to do a complete teardown of that transmission and a rebuild. And one of the cool things they're going to do is actually convert the tail end of that transmission from a TR6060 tail housing to a standard T56 Magnum tail housing. So what that's going to allow us to do is run any T56 Magnum style shifter in this car. I won't have to go try to find one of those specialized shifters for the TR6060. There's numerous T56 Magnum options out there. So it'll simplify the install. It also converts that 3-bolt flange on the output of a TR6060 to a slip yoke on a T56 Magnum, which will work better with a live axle configuration in this car, and won't have to have a drive shaft built with a slip yoke in it, which will make the drive shaft lighter. So there's a lot of benefits from doing that. It's a silver lining to the problem that we ran into with the transmission. We'll expect to have that transmission back in a couple weeks. Once we do, we'll drop the engine and trans back in the freshly coated subframe, get that all back together, start reassembling the front suspension and all that good stuff, and we'll have more updates on this car coming up. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. All right, bye.